This week on the Pro Wrestling Podcast, WWE Raw is moving from PG to TV14. Ric Flair takes a shot at Chris Jericho on Twitter. Bill Goldberg shoots on Bret the Hitman Hart. And Chris Jericho talks about his backstage confrontation with Brock Lesnar. I'm your host, Seth Grimes, and this is the Pro Wrestling Podcast. What the fuck is up, everybody? Welcome to the Pro Wrestling Podcast. I am your boy, Seth Grimes, here with another fun show for you today. Lots of great stories to jump into. I hope all of you are doing well. I hope you're enjoying your summer. I hope you guys are staying nice and cool in the blistering heat. I know I am here up in Michigan, and it's sweaty as fuck. And most people don't picture Michigan as being a sweaty as fuck state. I know people down south, Florida, Arizona, are going to balk at that. But man, it is so humid up here. It's rough getting through the day. Actually, yesterday was pretty nice, though. It was a little rainy, cooled things off a little bit. Neighbors had a giant fucking house party. They were up till 2 in the morning just screaming and hollering. Dude's dog got loose in my yard and he was running through it trying to chase him down. Fun stuff, I tell you. Fun stuff. Enjoying my summer. And I am excited to get into this show with you guys here today. Lots of good stuff to talk about. So instead of me just ranting about it right now, let's just go ahead and dive into our top story this week, which is WWE Raw is moving from TVPG to TV14. This was announced earlier this week. Go ahead and check out this clip from Wrestling Observer Live, Figure 4 Online, Brian Alvarez, talking about the deets, and then I will catch you on the flip side to break it all down.
The PG era of Raw is over. Andrew Zarian of the Mat Men podcast, our own Andrew Zarian, reported Thursday Raw will be moving from a TVPG rating to TV14, beginning with next Monday's episode. July 18th, Raw will have a TV14 rating moving forward on USA. The PG era is over.
And this goes into effect immediately. If you're listening to this, Monday Night Raw is now PG-14. I do think this will be a game changer for the WWE. It doesn't fix any inherent problems that they already have as far as really shitty booking ideas, booking philosophies. It's not going to fix a lot of the crap that they're already doing. The 50-50 booking, the fuck finishes, all that goofy stuff is going to continue to go on. You're still going to be bored to tears. But this could open up the door for some talent to seize the opportunity, and that's where the opportunity lies for Raw. I don't think Vince McMahon, as a creative head of WWE, is going to suddenly just be a fucking creative genius just because he's got a little bit more wiggle room in the language and violence department, in the sex department. And we all know Vince loves the sex department, right? If he can get his divas back out there crawling around on all fours in bras and panties, he would. He would. But this opens the door for a lot of the talent to excel. Specifically, like take a Cody Rhodes, for example. We know he likes to do the old, he likes to do the little thing up there all the time. In AEW, we all knew going into the WWE that was just not going to be something that Cody was going to be able to do. Well, maybe now he can. Now, Alvarez did say in that segment that I listened to there that you caught a clip of that this doesn't necessarily mean that there's going to be tons of blood now. That the reason that there was no blood is not necessarily because it was PG. So it's not like you're just gonna just see guys bleeding everywhere. But I do think you'll see it more. I think there's an opportunity for that to happen now if Vince allows it. He could still have a no blood policy. You know, he's called it barbaric and blood and guts. You know, as the War Games match was named after. Vince McMahon ripping on AEW for being a blood and guts promotion. Will WWE become a blood and guts promotion? If they do, even a little bit, this is going to very much help out a Cody Rhodes, for example. So I think he's one person that can benefit from this. Another person I think that will excel in a PG-14 environment is going to be Seth Rollins. I think Seth Rollins has a bit of an edge to him that hasn't been able to come out since he's been with the WWE. I think a guy like Seth Rollins can tweak his character in a PG-14 environment and take advantage of the extra leeway that he has to really crank up his character. And I really think that we're going to see some cool things from Seth Rollins going forward, taking advantage of this PG-14 environment. Another person that this greatly benefits, and this has been something that I have said from the beginning, that if MJF were to jump ship over the WWE, he's going to be seriously watered down, and he's going to lose a lot of the things that make MJF MJF. Now, I've always said that he is talented enough to adapt to the WWE style. He'll be watered down, but he'll still be the best version he can be in WWE regardless, because he's got the skill level and the talent to adjust on the fly. I don't think he's a one-trick pony where he needs all the swearing and all the bullshit to get himself over, but it helps. It helps to make him an edgy character. It helps that the things that come out of his mouth are things that you're just not supposed to say out loud, especially in this era. And I think if he were to jump ship and WWE were to acquire the services of an MJF, I think that PG-14 environment's going to be perfect for a guy like that. And honestly, this whole move could be built around a fucking guy like MJF, you know? Make it your life's goal to sign an MJF either in 2024 or if somehow he gets let out of his contract early and this isn't a work, which it is, with MJF and AEW, then certainly that's going to be a big feather in the cap of the WWE. In the PG-14 environment, like I said, it's not going to make Vince's creative better. It's just not. In fact, it could end up being a little bit more cringe. You know, he could end up doing a little bit more dirty sexual things that we just don't need to see, regardless of if PG-14, doesn't matter. It's not going to fix Vince's booking problems, but it will allow talent to be a little bit more to allow talent to be a little bit more edgy is going to open up a lot more creative outlets for some of these talents to really take it to the next level. I could even see a guy like an Austin Theory taking advantage of a PG-14 environment. I could see him getting a little edgier. Not everybody's going to be edgy and raw, you know, but there are select guys that this is going to benefit greatly if they are allowed to cut loose a little bit more. So I'm interested to see how it plays out, how long it lasts. Are we heading into a new attitude era of sorts or a ruthless aggression era? Obviously, it's not going to be as big as it was back then, or, you know, we don't have the star power that we had back then. But I do definitely think that because it opens the doors to more creative outlets for the talent to express themselves in different ways, some of these talent are going to rise up. And you're going to even see, I would expect to see some talent shine where they weren't able to shine before. I think we're going to see some talent in new light where you're like, oh, okay, shit, I'm a fan of that person now. I think there's going to be a little bit of that too. So we shall see how it plays out and how long it lasts and how they're going to utilize it. You know, what else are they going to do besides, you know, is it going to just be, you know, you get to say shit in your promo a little bit? Is it going to be that there's going to be a little bit more sexuality? Will we see more violence and blood and guts? Blood and guts. We'll see. We'll see. What do you guys think? What are your thoughts on the PG-14? We've been talking trash about this PG era for so long. Oh, it's PG, it's PG. I don't like the PG era. It's boring. Another fun thing that kind of occurred to me is that wrestling seems to go in cycles, and it goes with they're very good. WWE is great at following their age groups, right? So like when Hulk Hogan was on top in the 80s, wrestling was pretty much PG. It was a cartoon. It was a living cartoon. They literally made cartoons. But as the little Hulkamaniacs grew up and became teenagers and stuff, the wrestling industry got edgier, and the Attitude Era was ushered in, and Hulk Hogan was a bad guy. And those fans that were little Hulkamaniacs grew up to be the rebellious fans in the Attitude Era. Those are the same kids. And then the industry went full circle. Those people kind of aged out a little bit in the Ruthless Aggression Era. And then WWE started targeting, once they transitioned from the Ruthless Aggression Era to the PG era, they started targeting kids again. And they moved it to a kid-friendly format. And this is obviously for advertisers and that sort of thing. But when they were able to do that, they were able to bring in a whole new fan base of kids again. But guess, with the John Cena era, John Cena had a lot of little kids following him. But guess what? Just like with Hulk Hogan in the 80s and all the little Hulkamaniacs, all of John Cena's fans are kind of growing up and becoming teenagers now. A little bit more edgy, a little bit more rebellious. So wrestling has evolved with its fan base. It's going to grow up. WWE is going to grow up with the fans that were fans as kids for John Cena. Now that they're teenagers going into adults, Raw is going to follow them in their age group. So it is kind of smart. I don't know if they're looking at it like that or if that's their reasoning at all. I don't believe it is, but when you kind of look back at it historically, that's exactly what's going on, and it's going to benefit them, I think. I think we'll see a little bit of an uptick in the ratings. Again, it's not going to fix the booking, but it will allow talent to be a little bit more, give them a little bit more leeway to do their thing and be more creative. And I think the fan base is going to be much more receptive to it. But again, we shall see. And with that said, I'm just going to move on, and we're going to go to the next topic. The Nature Boy, Ric Flair, got himself into a little bit of drama this week on the internet as he tweeted out a completely unwarranted shot at Chris Jericho. You see it there on the thumbnail. It reads, "Living a legend in your own mind. Shawn Michaels wannabe. Ric Flair never will be. Woo! Where did you buy that cheap suit? Obviously not from some fucking shop. I don't know what it is, but what was the point of that? Why is Ric Flair taking shots at everybody? Why is he so... What's wrong with Ric Flair? We've talked about this before here on the show. The man is off his fucking rocker, right? He's in his old age after he kicked out at 2 3/4 from death. From death's fucking doornail, okay? Death had him covered. 1, 2. Oh my God, he kicked out. So Ric Flair has managed to get a whole new lease on life, and he has used it to ruin every single friendship that he has. This isn't just a one-off thing, and I know there's a lot of Ric Flair fans out there. I scroll through the comments on this tweet, and I see what people are saying. Most people are in agreement with me, like, whoa, Rick, where's this coming from? And you're embarrassing yourself, dude. Chill out. You're a fucking shell of what you used to be, man. But there are some people that are like, oh yeah, Ric Flair's the GOAT. Woo, fuck everybody else. But this isn't just Chris Jericho. This is... Ric Flair has burned his bridge with Triple H. They used to be very close friends. Very close friends. Triple H, was looked up to Flair as a fucking mentor, as an idol. He took very good care of him in WWE, put him back in a prominent position, gave him his confidence back. At one point, Ric Flair gave Triple H his world title belt that's in Triple H's office, and Ric Flair's on record, oh, I wish I never did that now. Probably because he would fucking pawn it for money. He's burnt his bridge with every single wife that he's had. He's cheated on all of them. And even with Wendy, the one that was by his fucking bedside as he was dying and stuck through him through all of that. He's even fucking turned his back on her so he can go out and party and be the nature boy. Woo! I'm drinking, having a good time. Bling bling. I'm the nature boy. Woo! It's ridiculous. The guy's fucking 70 some years old. Probably fucking close to 80 at this point. I don't think he's quite that old, but he's getting up there. I don't know his exact age. Sorry if I'm a little blinky. I got a little something in my eye there. But he's embarrassing himself. Why does he go out there and do it? Shawn Michaels, another guy that he was really close with, gave him his retirement match, bought him a fucking Rolex that he pawned or sold or whatever, didn't he? And he's not friends with Shawn anymore either. Arn Anderson, he's not friends with Arn anymore. He's burnt that bridge. Apparently he's estranged from his own kids even. I don't know about Ashley so much, Charlotte. But, we've heard that he's estranged from David at this point. What is going on with Ric Flair? Mark Madden, that was that clip that I said we've talked about this before. I did a whole clip. I'll put it in the, if you're listening to this as a clip and not the full show, I'll put it in the end, as like the next video that you could click on for you. Why? Why does Rick do this? He's got such a fragile ego. He's so bitter at everybody and everything. Everybody is not good enough for him. Everybody's doesn't live up to his expectations, or they're not as good as the nature boy. And there's just one thing after another, where you gotta step back and be like, okay, if it was this one situation, maybe we'll give it to Rick, right? Maybe, you could say, oh yeah, Jericho, whatever, thinks he's the GOAT, Ric Flair's the GOAT, Maybe he got into a heated tiff with Arn Anderson or something, and that's why that happened. But when you combine all of these and every single bridge that this man's burned, it's Rick. You got to point the finger at Rick himself. It's you, Rick. It's your fault. He's a bitter, sad old man holding on to his fragile ego, taking shots at everybody to put himself over. What is the need to do this at 70 some years old? You have secured yourself a legendary status in the profession that you've dedicated your life to. You're going to go down as one of the greatest of all times. And if you scroll through the comments, a lot of people will look at you as the greatest of all time. I wouldn't go that far. I'd say he's one of. But Rick, I believe, is a tad bit overrated. And I'm not just saying that because he's been being a douchebag. His matches are very paint by numbers, for example. I don't think he's really been able to evolve throughout his career. He's always kind of just been the nature boy, which is, a gimmick that he borrowed from somebody else to begin with. There's just no need to be going out there and taking shots like this. What's the point of that? You're just trying to stir up attention to get yourself more comments and likes and get your name out there like we're doing right now. We're talking about Ric Flair. So if that's the goal, hey man, props to you, But you're ruining your legacy by doing this. You're making everybody shake their head at you. You're embarrassing yourself. You're making yourself look so bad. You have nothing to prove to anybody anymore. You are Ric Flair. It probably goes back to his ego thing again, or his self-confidence. Remember, we've heard it in 5 different documentaries that Ric Flair lost his swagger. He lost his confidence when he went back to the WWE. He didn't even know who the fuck he was. And it took a Triple H and an Undertaker and a couple other guys on the roster to go, dude, you are the nature boy Ric Flair. Pull your head out of your ass. Understand who you are, embrace it, run with it, and fucking get back in the game. Get your swagger back on. You deserve it. You're the man. But even speaking of the man, his fucking bullshit little beefs with Becky Lynch too. Where did all that come from? Oh, you call yourself the man? I'm the man. Why do you care? Why do you care? Maybe because you're still making money off being the man. I could see that. But didn't you sign that over? Aren't you, like, you don't legally own that, do you? So it's just sad. It really is sad. I'm not mad at Rick. I don't have a beef with Rick. I'm not trying to hate on Ric Flair. I want to see the man die with dignity. Not that he's dying, but I mean, he already kicked out at 2 3/4 once. He's doesn't have long. I don't want to see him tarnish his entire legacy and go down as that bitter old man that talks shit about everybody. That's exactly where he's going. He has hardly any friends. I shouldn't say that because he does. He's talks about it a lot on his podcast, and he's got guys that he goes and parties with, and he's out on his boat and he's friendly with people and visits his bars and that kind of stuff. Conrad, but even there, him and Conrad had a podcast once and it fell apart. Look what happened with Rick and his podcast with Mark Madden. Again, you could point the finger at Mark Madden, but how many times are we going to point the finger at everybody else and not Rick? Just because we have our blinders on because Ric Flair is our favorite wrestler, right? I see a lot of that in these comments. A lot of people that are just completely blind because Ric Flair is their fucking hero. And that's fine if Ric Flair is your hero, but look around you. Look at every single person in his life that he has burned a bridge with, that he has talked shit about, or everybody that's offended him or hurt him. Again, when it's one person, two people, you can make an argument that it might be that person. But when Ric Flair is estranged from fucking 12 different people, maybe it's Ric Flair. Maybe Ric Flair is the fucking problem. And he doesn't need to be this way. He can just sit back and enjoy being the Nate, enjoy his legacy, appreciate the time that he had, appreciate the fame that he has, be friendly with everybody, be lovey with everybody. Chris Jericho's great. I love Chris Jericho. He's a good guy. I like what he's doing. Why? Because it doesn't hurt him. It doesn't take anything away from Nate. Why do you got to say Ric Flair wannabe? Or Ric Flair never be Shawn Michaels wannabe? Why do you even got to go there? Nobody wants to be Ric Flair. You think people want to pull their dicks out on airplanes and waggle them at unsuspecting women? Is that what he thinks people want to be? It's sad. It's sad. It's frustrating and sad. It hurts my soul because deep down, I've grown up with Ric Flair. I've known of Ric Flair my entire life. Watched him on TV. I respect the man's in-ring work, and it sucks to see people so close to death, so old, still hanging on to their ego, their fragile fucking ego. Oh no, we don't want anybody thinking that anybody else is anywhere near the GOAT that Ric Flair is. You call yourself the GOAT? No, I'm the GOAT. Why? You're 70 fucking 8 years old, dude. Fuck off. So instead of I've sighed a few times here is because it's frustrating. I don't want to have to rant on Ric Flair. I don't want to take this position on Rick. I really want to like the guy. But he keeps burying himself. And at this rate, the man's going to die alone, sad, lonely, broken, broke. He's going to continue to burn bridges. There's going to be more and more people that don't like him. I mean, looking through those tweets, like I said, there's a lot of people that support him, that are his fanboys. But there's far more people that are like, dude, you're a disgrace, echoing all the same things that I'm saying right now. And it's sad because little by little, every time he does this, every time he tweets something stupid, says something stupid on his podcast, he's losing more and more fans. He's losing more and more respect from people. He's burning more and more bridges. And it's all for his fragile ass, weak ego that he's trying desperately to protect, that he does not need to protect. Somebody needs to slap him in the face and tell him he's the fucking nature boy. He doesn't need to protect his ego anymore. He is a made man. He is set in stone. Fuck off. He's literally set in bronze. He's got a fucking statue at the WWE. So please chill the fuck out. Grow up. Get over yourself. You're not that... Whatever. Doesn't matter. I'm over it. Ric Flair continues to make an ass of himself out in public, and I'm going to continue to call him out on it every single time that he does it. Anytime he says something stupid, I'm going to be there to be like, you're a fucking piece of shit, Rick. Stop it. His ego's out of control. Bill Goldberg shoots on Bret the Hitman Hart. We've seen this story the other way a bunch of times. Bret Hart constantly talking about Bill Goldberg in every interview, about this whole kick in the head, ending his career thing, leading to his stroke, blah, 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 blah. Bill Goldberg ended Bret's career, and Bret is still highly bitter about this and carries it around with him everywhere and is never shy to talk about it in any interview that he does. But we've never really heard anything from the other side. At least me. I've never really heard anything from Goldberg's side other than I think I've heard him say that, he regrets it or he apologizes or whatever. But this was a little bit of different tone. This crossed my radar here. This was on the Michael Kay show. Apparently this is some kind of ESPN gimmick. I don't know. I'm not a sports ball guy. I don't know this. But Peter Rosenberg was on there. And I do know him because he does all the WWE pre-shows and stuff like that. But they interviewed Goldberg on their little radio show gimmick or podcast or whatever it was. And Goldberg had a little bit of something to say about Bret Hart. Check out this clip.
But in the doc, you can tell he does still seem to hold on to it. Does it hurt you at all that he sort of hasn't totally let you get up from that?
As Goldberg, well, you know what? Yes, as Goldberg the character and as Goldberg the human, there's no question about it. I mean, when an accident happens and you tell your side of the story and nobody believes it, especially the person who is negatively affected by it, yeah, it sucks. And I will take it to my grave because I'm sure that he will never forgive me. But hey man, what else can I say? I've said I was sorry and that it was unintentional, and it was the furthest thing from my mind. I don't know, 1,000,000 times, and of those 1,000,000 times, he's come back with, yes, it was intentional, and he's a punk, and he didn't know what he was doing, and he ruined my career. So, it sucks, but you can lead a horse to water, and you can shove their face in the damn water, but you can't make them suck it up their esophagus. So if you can tell that I'm pretty pissed off about the fact that he still harbors it, yeah, it sucks.
Yeah, I get it.
I 100% agree with Bill. What else can you do, dude? He's apologized 1,000,000 times for this. He feels guilty. He said he will take this to his grave. This weighs heavy on his heart. This isn't something that he just blows off like, fuck yeah, whatever, He loses sleep at night over this shit. Maybe not literally, but figuratively, he sure does. This weighs heavy on his heart, and it's something that he carries around with him. And, like Rosenberg said, Bret Hart's not letting him get up from this. He's not letting him. Bret Hart will never forgive Goldberg. He might have said, I forgive him or whatever, but he still brings it up and bitches about it every chance he gets. And look, on Bret Hart's side, his career ended. One of the greatest wrestlers in the history of wrestling, had more to give. Certainly, if we could have seen great him in the early 2000s, man, we missed out on a lot of great shit because Bret was retired early because of Bill Goldberg and because of his recklessness in the match. But at the same time, look, pro wrestling is, they always say, it's not ballet. It's a violent fucking sport. Even though it's showmanship and it's supposed to be, you're supposed to try to take care of people, things happen. Bill didn't go out there to kick Bret's face off. He didn't go out there to injure Bret, hurt Bret, put Bret out, get himself over at the expense of Bret. I do not believe that at all. I think Goldberg is a good man at heart. I think he really truly feels sorry for this, and I really do believe him when he says he lives with this every day. And Bret won't let him, he won't forgive Goldberg. He brings it up all the time. And finally, Goldberg's just like, you know what? Yeah, it pisses me off a little bit because I have apologized up and down. I carry this around with me all the time, this guilt. I don't know what else you need me to do. How sorry can I be? Like, at some point, can we shake hands and get over this? You know, I do understand. It's not lost on me why Bret feels the way that Bret does. You know, that's his career, and Bret's proven himself to be a bitter old man on basically everything anyway. You know, he's another guy that never ceases to take shots at somebody. He's always got something to say about somebody, and you know how he's better than other people and that kind of thing. He's another one that's got a giant ego that he can never let anything go, let anything rest. Always got to kind of complain about something, but he is Canadian too, though. Right, Canada? Anyway. But I 100% agree with Goldberg. You know, if I was in his position, I would get to a point where enough is enough. I would get to a point where, like, look, bro, I feel so bad about this. I've apologized every chance I get. I don't know what else I can say or do to make this right. And, you know, I know you may never forgive me, but can you let me live it down a little bit? Can we let this go? Does it have to come up in every single interview that we do? So I can also see why he's a little bit pissed off about it at this point. The whole thing's sad. It really is. Like, we don't want to see, like, Bret's absolutely one of the greatest of all time. Especially in my book. You know, I'm definitely a Bret Hart guy. Bret is, in my opinion, the excellence of execution. That's a very apropos nickname for him because every single thing he does is crispy as fuck. There are zero holes in this man's game. Something that was said on the A&E thing that, you know, I think The Undertaker had said that. Bret Hart is as crisp as they come. And it was sad to lose him when we did to that kick from Goldberg. But this shit happens. People get hurt all the time in wrestling. You can't, like, dude, Seth Rollins, you know, for example, mangled John Cena's face, put his nose over here somewhere. You know, it was like up under his eye, fucking crooked and shit. It was the most disgusting thing I've ever seen in wrestling. You think he went out there to fucking end John Cena's career and hurt him on purpose? No, shit happens, dude. The dude that broke Big E's neck, you think he did that shit on purpose? No. Do you think he feels horrible about that every single day and will carry that around with him the rest of his life? Absolutely. Absolutely. I'd be scared to wrestle again if I did that to a guy. I'd be terrified. I don't want to hurt any other people. I'd lose confidence in myself, you know? I'd second guess everything I did, which would make me want to hurt, well, not want to, but it would make me hurt more people because now I'm second guessing everything. You know, you gotta dedicate yourself 100% to any move that you do. If you try to pull your punch a little bit, you could end up hurting somebody. So the whole thing is sad. It's a big mess, but Goldberg has every right to be forgiven at this point. Let it go. Let it go. At least, like, if you're gonna still be hurt about it, upset about it, bitter about it, you can at least let Bill off the hook. You can at least stop going on every interview that you say and calling Bill Goldberg reckless and all of that shit. You know, he's said some very harsh things about Bill, and I get it from both sides. I get Bret. I can't say that I wouldn't feel the same, but looking at it from an outsider's perspective, in hindsight, all these years later especially, I think it's time to make peace and just let Bill, you know, forgive Bill. Let Bill off the hook for this one. Let him go. He's apologized. He didn't do it on purpose. Accidents happen. He was green. He admits that. The whole thing's a big mess. But it was a very interesting interview. It was a short interview. It was only like 8 minutes that they had Bill on or whatever. But it was good to hear Bill talk about it. I think I've heard him mention it in passing, you know, just to say, you know, he's apologized and felt guilty and stuff. This is the first time I've really heard Bill be like, you know what, enough is enough. I'm kind of pissed off now that Bret just keeps bringing my name up everywhere. And, you know, like I said, I don't blame him. But the whole thing's fucky. The whole thing sucks. I feel bad for both of them, to be honest with you. But it is what it is. You can't change history. but I did think it was a fun interview, so I do want to point you towards that. I think you can find it on YouTube. And with that said, I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next. Chris Jericho was on the True Geordie podcast this week. Geordie's had quite a few wrestlers on as of late. I think he's had Shawn Michaels on, and I do believe he's had The Undertaker on too recently. I haven't gone to listen to either of those yet, but I certainly intend to. But he did have Chris Jericho on and got into a whole lot of different topics with Jericho, kind of covering the range of his career. But Geordie he's an interesting interviewer because it sounds like he's coming from the perspective of a fan. You know, when you listen to the way that he's interviewing somebody, he's like, the questions that he asks would be like, if a bunch of dudes could sit down and you know, it's like, what was it like when you got in that backstage fight with Brock Lesnar, you know? And here's what Jericho had to say about that.
He was doing a match with Randy Orton, and he was basically like just butchering him with elbows to the head. And I didn't know if it was planned or not. And nobody would tell me if it was planned or not. And listen, wrestling is a hard-hitting sport, but elbows to the side of the head can kill you. Your temple, if you get hit hard enough in the temple, you die.
Especially with Brock Lesnar.
Well, especially with anything. Have you ever heard of David and Goliath? That's how Goliath died, from getting a fucking rock to his temple. So
David was very good though.
When he was hitting him with the elbows, I was just like, if this is real, it's bullshit. If it's been called, it's still bullshit. He's taking liberties, and it pissed me off. And I was in Gorilla, and I was fucking angry about it. And Brock came through, and he saw me angry about it and decided he wanted to come challenge me, and we got into a little bit of an issue, and I was like, fuck this guy, I don't give a shit how big he is, like, I don't fucking care, it's fucking wrong. And I will fight to the death. If I will stand up for what I believe in to the death. And I remember being like literally nose to nose with the guy, and he's laughing, and he's like, you know, he was actually saying things that would probably get him canceled if I said them to him now, like homophobic terms that you shouldn't be saying.
Fuck.
And I was like, fuck it.
How did that make you feel, though?
I was like, fuck, I'm going to bite his fucking nose off. I'm going to bite his nose off. Like, I see this big, giant, fat nose, and I'm like, if he comes any closer and takes a swing at me, I'm not even saying it as a tough guy. I'm literally going to bite his fucking nose off.
Jericho was kind of a dick to Geordie on this podcast. He came in a very pissed off mood. I don't know what crawled up his ass. You know, Jericho's always very friendly and personable on his podcast when he's interviewing people, but all of a sudden he's got an interview to go do, and he's a fucking major dick. I don't know if he had issues with his flight, but he was really hard on Geordie and crew. There was a moment where, you know, they asked him at the beginning, you know, if he wants coffee or something, and he said yeah, and then he complained because it was like a half hour into the interview, and he's like, what the fuck, do you guys have to run all the way across town to get the shit or what? You know, like, all of his answers were really defensive and snappy, and this was no different here, talking about Brock. So I don't know what crawled up Chris's ass, but I do think he was a little bit hard on Geordie in this entire interview. He was a complete dick to him. We don't know what's going on behind the scenes, though. Maybe there was a lot of, you know, maybe just unprofessionalism on Geordie's side. I don't know. I'm not even trying to speculate. All I'm doing is saying Jericho was almost a little bit out of character in the dickishness that he had this entire interview, which is almost worth watching just to see Jericho. You know, he comes in like a rock star, sits down with a swagger, talking shit the whole time. And in this clip, when he was talking about his confrontation with Brock, obviously this is Jericho's side. We've heard different versions of this story before. We've heard that Brock kissed Jericho, and you know, Jericho has said that he was calling him slurs, sexual gay slurs, homophobic slurs, if you will. And this was, I believe this was during his little frilly scarf era, so you know, take that for what it's worth. But Brock, Jericho face to face, Jericho's like, I would bit his nose off. Jericho's acting real tough, and Jericho is, you know, whether he's actually tough or not. And Brock would have obviously murdered Jericho, but he comes from that, he's a Canadian, and he comes from that hockey fight background where, you know, you just fight people. And Jericho's not scared to scrap with anybody. He's talked about it in multiple interviews. You know, he very much carries this tough guy persona. Let's not get it twisted. Brock would have eaten Jericho alive. No pun intended with Jericho saying he's going to eat Brock's nose and stuff like that. But it's interesting that this came up and Jericho's like, and I'll do it again today too. Jericho is very confrontational in this whole thing. I don't get it. I don't get where his attitude was coming from. It was interesting to hear his side of it. I think we've heard Jericho talk about this before, but not quite in this detail, or at least not quite this aggressively. I think this is the first time I've heard him say he was going to bite Brock's nose off. That could have turned into be a big thing. But then again, you hear that Brock leaned in and gave him a kiss. I don't know if it was on the lips or on the cheek or whatever the fuck he did, but certainly that would have been a great opportunity for Jericho to bite his nose, don't you think? So again, you know, it's one of those he said, she said, he said, you know, hearsays. You hear different versions of all these stories. Either way, you know, we always hear that Jericho, you know, he did the same thing with Goldberg, and I think he's had, you know, one or two other backstage altercations with wrestlers and stuff. He's not afraid to if he has to. I certainly think he would have fought Brock Lesnar. I just think Brock would have destroyed him. And it's weird that Jericho was wondering if this was a work or not, too. As long as Jericho's been in the business, he can't tell if something's a work or not. He's sitting there thinking that Brock is taking liberties with Orton. You don't think that Orton would have got up and started pounding Brock back in the face if he thought that Brock was trying to take liberties with him? Orton wasn't, like, knocked out. I think he was concussed after all the elbows and shit. Yeah, he actually was. Yeah, he was concussed. He had to take a little bit of time off. He had staples in his head, all that shit. But when it first started, like, Orton certainly could have fought back. So even as a fan watching, I didn't look at that and go, oh my God, is Brock doing this for real? So I find it very hard to believe that Jericho would even think that it was a work or think that it was a shoot and be that angry with Brock that he's going to try to fight him backstage. Certainly there was no reason to do that angle. It's memorable. There was a little bit of an era there when Brock first came back again there where he beat the dog shit out of John Cena. Remember that? And then he did that to Orton, and they were really trying to build him up to be a monster, a beast. And I think that was building up to him ending the streak for The Undertaker. It was around that time. So certainly they were doing these things to make Brock appear to be very dangerous and a complete brutal monster. But there was no reason to do real multiple elbows to the head like that. And honestly, if we're being honest, I'd be scared to death to be in Orton's position. But if I'm being paid like millions of dollars and my assignment was to be busted open hard way, I think Brock might be one of the best people to do that because of all of his MMA training and stuff. They train you in MMA. They train you to know how to bust people open quick and easy. Because when you do that, that's going to impair their vision. It could cause a ref stoppage. It looks good on the scorecard as far as who's winning the fight. You know, damage given, taken, all that shit. So they do legit will train you where and how to hit people. It goes back to the same story like Mick Foley always talks about how he would ask Terry Funk to give him a good mouse under the eye or bust open his eyebrow or something like that. You know, you give him good knuckle down on the eyebrow part there. If you hit it in the right spot, you can just split it. And the people know these little shooters for sure, know these little tricks and hints and tips. So Brock definitely knew what he was doing. The whole thing was clearly a work. I never once, as a fan, looked at that and was concerned that it was real. So I don't know what the fuck. I think Jericho's a little bit of an egomaniac. I think he's got a little bit of a little man complex. I love Jericho. don't get me wrong here. I very much do love and appreciate Jericho. He is one of my favorite wrestlers, one of my favorite wrestling personalities. I like that he's got that I don't give a shit, tough guy attitude. He puts his balls out on the table. I like that he's a mogul, the podcast, the rock band. I like all those different ventures that he's doing. I appreciate all of that. He is one of my favorites, but he does, from time to time, have that little man Napoleon complex where he's got to puff himself up and be the biggest, baddest, toughest guy in the room, and I'll kick everybody's ass, and I'm a badass, because he's got to kind of compensate for being a smaller guy in the wrestling business, which he's not really, especially by today's standards. I think he's like, 5'10", but back when he started, he was very much a little man in the wrestling business. So I think he's carried that with him, and I think that's part of it too. He's always got to kind of flex, and hell, I mean, you got to give him props. If you're going to go nose to nose with Brock Lesnar backstage, you're going to go nose to nose with Bill Goldberg backstage. The guy's got massive balls. You got to give him that, because I wouldn't do that. I'm not going to be standing backstage waiting for Brock to come through the curtain to be like, what the fuck were you doing out there, bro? You got a problem? Because Brock would just kiss me on the cheek and tell me I'm pretty. You know what I mean? So, is what it is. It's a fun story. It helps. It's one of those stories in wrestling lore. There's only a few of those that, the backstage confrontations, we hear about those, and those kind of carry on through history, those legendary stories. And this is one of them. Jericho just putting his balls on the table and standing face to face, confronting Brock. Brock, by all accounts, was not shook in the least bit by Jericho. But definitely a good interview. I would go seek that out on YouTube and listen to the full True Geordie. Watch the full True Geordie interview. Again, Jericho's a huge dick in the whole thing. It'll probably catch you by surprise a little bit. You'll be a little bit taken aback, because we listen to Jericho talk all the time, twice a week I do, or once a week at least. I don't listen to all of his podcasts, but I listen to a great deal of them. And Jericho seems like a fairly chill guy most of the time, but he was pretty douchey to Geordie, and I don't know why, but worth going to watch, because there's lots of great little tidbits in there. He talks about a lot of things throughout his career, lots of fun stuff in there. So go check that out, and I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next. Speaking of Chris Jericho, the governor, Jesse the Body Ventura, was on Talk Is Jericho this week. I was just thinking about the Body not that long ago. I was wondering, I haven't heard from Jesse Ventura in a long, long time. At least he hasn't come across my radar anywhere. So I was kind of wondering, what's up with Jesse? I was wondering, is he in good health? Everything okay? Haven't heard from this guy in a while. He's usually very, public and outspoken. But then, just like a week after I had that thought, he pops up on Talk Is Jericho. So I was really excited to jump in and listen to this. And it's awesome listening to the dynamic, the old timer. He's very he didn't talk down to Chris necessarily, but it's interesting because Chris is such a legend in the business at this point. Everybody below him looks up to him, and he's kind of always like the legend and the top dog in the modern era here, with all the young guys underneath him. So it's interesting seeing the dynamic, seeing Jericho get put back in the dynamic where, Ventura's kind of his superior. Ventura's, kind of preaching to Jericho a little bit here and messing with him a little bit and that kind of stuff. So it's fun to listen to, and Jericho gives it to him. He's like, yep, he gives him his respect and that kind of thing. But check out this clip. There's lots of fun stuff. There's one part where where Ventura's talking about the Jan 6th whole situation there, and kind of ranting on it, and I was kind of laughing to myself, like, does he know that Jericho's wife was at that fucking thing? You know what I mean? So, like, that was kind of funny, and Jericho just kind of bit his tongue. I was like, But it was this particular clip that I wanted to draw your attention to. Was Ventura talking about the whole royalties thing, and being the first to beat Vince McMahon in court when he sued him over royalties. Check out this clip.
He was using your voice on videotapes, right?
Well, it's longer than that. What happened was I got induced. I did Predator, and I did Hunter, and I did Hollywood. Well, all of a sudden, I'm getting royalty checks. When Hunter shows on TV, a check comes to me. When Predator shows, a check comes to me. So I went into Vince and said, Vince, how come everything I do in Hollywood, I get paid royalties, and you're out selling videotapes all over the country of my broadcasts, my matches, and everything about me, and I don't get nothing?
Mm-hmm.
How come Hollywood pays me and you don't? And Vince said, well, I don't pay royalties, blah, blah, blah. Which, by law, he doesn't have to.
Right.
There's no law that says he's got to do it. Anyway, it's stuck in my craw, and every time I would negotiate with him, my agent would bring up videotape. And every year, Vince would say, we don't pay royalties on videotape. But it still ticked me off to the point I was so angry, I said, I want him to beat me in court on this, because it just don't seem right. I own the copyright of my name and likeness. He's making money off it and not paying me a thing for all that he's making. So we went to court. Now, here's where we got him. It was during Discovery. We also sued him under something, and here's what we won on, called quantum merit. Now, what that means is this. Chris, if you decide you want to hire me tomorrow to bring me into wrestling in your group, you and I are going to sit down and we're going to do a negotiation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, during this negotiation, I am to expect that everything Chris Jericho tells me is the truth. And if Chris Jericho lies to me about something in these face-to-face negotiations, that is quantum merit. That is an argument for the term where you can be victorious in court. You were lied to during the negotiations. Well, during Discovery, we found out that Vince was lying when he said nobody gets paid for videotapes. Hogan was getting paid. Mr. T was getting paid. Cyndi Lauper was getting paid. All the people from the outside entertainment world were getting videotape royalties from the WWE. The only people not getting it were the wrestlers. I would never have agreed to work had I known they were getting paid and I wouldn't. And that's what won the case.
Yeah, love him or hate him, whatever your thoughts are on Jesse the Body Ventura, he is a groundbreaking person in the world of professional wrestling. He was the first person to make those moves, both for the union. He was the guy pushing to unionize wrestling, and he was also the guy pushing for royalties. He went to Hollywood and he saw how it works over there. They're unionized over there. They get great, all of them get the SAG, you get your SAG card. You get great fucking benefits from being a member of SAG. You get royalties on everything that you've ever done. Like he said, anytime Predator plays on TV, I get a check in the mail. So it would stand to reason that could carry over to wrestling, but legally, as Jesse said, legally, there's no obligation to pay royalties. It's not like a law that you have to pay royalties. It's just something that's built into your contract. It's just something that they do in entertainment across the board. Everybody, for the most part, there are some non-union workers and that sort of thing. Like I'm a big nerd, right? So like the Power Rangers story, for example, all those kids that were in the original Mighty Morphin Power Rangers were paid dog shit. They weren't union, so they don't get any benefits from that. They weren't getting any royalties. Same with, I heard, like Saved by the Bell. Those kids were getting paid kind of dog shit. And a lot of times these entry level, it might just be like your foot in the door to Hollywood. You do this to get your name out there and that sort of thing so that you can go work and get better jobs and that kind of thing. But wrestling business has always kind of been a little bit different. And it's always been able to fly under the radar because it's wrestling. Nobody really pays attention to it or cares. You know, Andrew Yang kind of has a hair up his ass. The politician Andrew Yang has a hair up his ass about the union thing. I don't know that that'll ever come to fruition, a union in wrestling. I don't know that they'll ever be able to change the business like that. Certainly not while Vince is alive, that's for sure. But they should. Jesse's not wrong for having these. He's a thorn in Vince's side by bringing it up. He's certainly poking the bear. He's certainly pushing. But shouldn't he be? Shouldn't wrestlers get royalties? And as Jericho went on to say, you know, they did. After that, you know, Jesse's like, you guys should build a fucking statue for me. And that's just like an example of Jesse kind of ripping on Jericho a little bit, and not ripping on him, but just kind of joshing him a little bit, and coming from that legendary perspective, the older wise man, you know. But he broke a lot of ground for wrestling. He was one of the first people to do Hollywood in a big way. Bigger than Hogan. Everybody mentions Hogan as like the Hollywood guy. And he's had like the worst Hollywood career of anybody that's gone to Hollywood. He's had a lot of movies, but they were all like B and C level movies. Straight to video, dog shit. You know what I mean? But Predator is an all-time classic. You know, same with Roddy Piper. His movie career was leaps and bounds better than Hulk Hogan's. A lot of Macho Man, Randy Savage, took a shot at Hogan. You know, because he was in Spider-Man, one of the, you know, a huge fucking movie at the time. You know, way bigger than anything Hulk's in. I don't know why I turned this into a Hulk thing. I guess just to say that Jesse's had a very successful movie career. He wasn't in a lot of movies, but the Predator, for example, will live on forever. That's an all-time classic, and he was in that. Big part of that. So Jesse deserves a lot of credit for being one of the first guys to transition to Hollywood in a big way, being one of those guys that pushed for the union, even though he didn't get it, even though he didn't make any real progress in it. I think he deserves credit for being one of those guys that has brought it up and put it in the zeitgeist of wrestling, that put it into the conversation. He's one of the only people that has the balls to stand up to Vince and push back against Vince. As he said, he's probably the only guy to ever beat Vince McMahon, to successfully sue Vince McMahon in court and get those royalties that he was after. He won on like a technicality. You know, he didn't win because Vince is obligated to pay royalties. He won because he was lied to in the negotiations that Vince doesn't pay royalties. When it came out in court that Vince did pay royalties to Hulk Hogan, Cyndi Lauper, Mr. T, certainly all these big celebrities that come in that are all big shit, top dogs in their industries, they probably negotiated that in their deals, though, you know. Like, I'm sure Cyndi Lauper came in and was like, yeah, I'll do whatever, but, you know, like, anytime I appear on your reruns or whatever, or you sell a tape or something, give me a little bit of ching-ching back, you know? But apparently Vince didn't feel that Jesse Ventura was worth that. All these other guys were, but Jesse wasn't for some reason, and Jesse was able to get that out of Vince. And I just love that. I love that dynamic. I always liked them on commentary, too. Vince was always like, you know, kind of, Jesse was always like bullying McMahon a little bit, which was always fun to listen to, especially, you know, back as a kid, I didn't know any better. I didn't know that Vince was the boss of the ship, but looking back, it's funny to see Ventura push those buttons on Vince. And even remember when they did that, like, I don't think it was like Raw 25, but it was one of those Raw Legend nights, you know, and he had Jesse Ventura come back. It was like a Raw Old School or something like that. And Ventura came back and did commentary with Vince. Vince had a little bow tie on. And Ventura was taking shots at McMahon there, too, you know, talking shit. I love that chemistry, though. It was good shit. I really like Jesse Ventura. I think I don't like it when people get overly political. I don't, you know, if I want to listen to politics, I'll listen to politicians or news shows or news podcasts or somebody in that field. When I want to be entertained, I want to be entertained. I don't want to listen to entertainment and get politics out of that. Does that make sense? Like, I don't want to listen to a Chris Jericho podcast and get Jesse Ventura's political views, you know. A little bit, fine, because he was the governor. Like, I get that. He's a politician to an extent, so he's going to have those views. But I just don't like getting into all it because it's so divisive, right? Everybody's got their opinions, and everybody hates other people's opinions, and it really draws people apart. So I don't necessarily enjoy listening to all that, but I respect Jesse, and I really do appreciate his contributions to the business and what they were. I think he was, much bigger as he had a much more successful career as a commentator than he did as a wrestler. I think as a wrestler, he was just kind of meh. But as a commentator, he was great. Worth going out of your way to listen to this podcast. Lots of great tidbits. Like I said, it gets a little politically heavy and it gets a little eye-rolling and cringy at times. But it's, at the same time, I appreciate listening to the wise men, the people that have been around in the business, these older folks talking about things the way that they used to be and that kind of thing. So worth listening to if you have not checked it out. That's going to be on Talk is Jericho with the Governor, Jesse the Body Ventura. Go listen to it. Captain Insano is all elite. This is according to the Big Show Paul Wight on the Wrestling Inc. podcast with Nick Hausman. He had Paul Wight on talking about movies. He had a movie coming out of some kind. I don't fucking know. But it was mentioned, they brought up Captain Insano from The Waterboy, the wrestling character that Paul Wight played in the Waterboy movie, and asked if he'll ever make a return. And surprisingly, we got an interesting answer. Check out this clip.
You brought up, you've teased Insano's coming back. That's what I wanted. That's the other film tie-in I wanted to have with you here. Is can we get an update on when you think we're gonna see Captain Insano in action in AEW?
Yeah, he'll be back. That's all I'm gonna say.
He'll be back. Has Adam Sandler approved? Is he okay with it?
Well, the guy that wrote The Waterboy has approved. So
all right. Anyway,
Tony Khan and I have secured the rights to Captain Insano. There's already an outfit made. I already have the outfit, the whole 9 yards. We're doing a lot of prep work, and this is my last hoorah, so to speak. And let's be honest, I don't think this character is going to be a killer going out there trying to beat John Moxley for the AEW championship. I think at this point, this is a character to have fun. We'll see how it goes, but for me right now, I just see a chance to have fun with this character and be a bright spot on the show. But we'll see how I'm feeling, and we'll see how everybody takes off with it. I mean, I'm not afraid to win another championship. I've had one in every company. I wouldn't mind getting one AEW either.
Yeah.
So there you go.
This is one of the perks of having Tony Khan being a giant mark and wrestling nerd, right? Because if I was in a position of a Tony Khan, I would think it would be a fun idea to bring back Captain Insano. Now, I don't know that I would actually go through with it or if that I would use it as an actual on-air character. I don't know what you do with a Captain Insano necessarily, but I like the idea that he went out and tried to acquire the rights to use that or permission to use that, and he did. They got permission from the creator of The Waterboy, the writer of The Waterboy, to use Captain Insano in AEW. Paul actually went as far as to say he's already got the gear made up. Or getting the gear made up. Like, this is something that is not only going to possibly happen, this is something that's going to happen, and that is imminent. This is imminent. We're going to see Captain Insano in AEW, which I fucking love. I don't know where he would fit in, though. It's got to be a comedy character, right? You can't come out seriously as Captain Insano. It's a joke. It's a rib. We all know that, and they got to know that. So what do you do with that? Is that like an Orange Cassidy type match, or where do you go with Captain Insano? I would use Captain Insano I would find something I could use him for, even if it's just like a video game character, right? Put Captain Insano in the video game as like a unlockable character or some shit. DLC down the road if it's already too late to put him in. That would be fun. That kind of stuff would be cool. But merchandise, put out a Captain Insano t-shirt, things like that would be dope. I don't know in the ring where he fits in. I don't know where Paul Wight fits in. He said that the two things that were most important to him going to AEW was to learn commentary and do commentary. That was something that he wanted to do, and that he wanted to wrestle more than he was in the WWE. And we've seen all of one match with Paul Wight against QT Marshall. And that was it. I don't recall seeing any more of Big Show in AEW at all. I don't know where he fits in, though, because he's not going to get a main event push. What do you do with a Big Show? I would have never signed the guy personally. And that's not a knock against Paul Wight. I'm not saying I don't like Paul Wight. I think he's one of the people that I kind of was just questioning. Why would you sign this guy? What value does he bring? Backstage, I'm sure he brings a wealth of value, talking to the guys, that kind of thing. So I kind of should bite my tongue when I say I don't know what kind of value he brings. I don't know what kind of value he brings as an in-ring performer. I don't know what you do with him anymore. And I know that a lot of people are going to roll their eyes at that or balk at that or think I'm insane. Like, what do you mean? He's a fucking legend. He's a former world champion in WWE and WCW. What do you mean you don't know what you do with him in the ring? Well, I don't know. If I was the booker, I wouldn't know what to do with Big Show. I'd put him in a tag team maybe. Use him to get over younger talent, work with younger talent in the ring. I guess those are options. But he's a big, big star. He's a big, big man. So you got to be very careful how you use him and very selective how you use him. He has not been used at all. Like, I don't watch Dark or anything, so I don't even get to hear his commentary. So as far as I'm aware, Paul Wight doesn't even exist in AEW, right? I know he does. I know he's backstage talking to the kids a lot. I know he does the commentary on like Dark or Dark Elevation or something like that. In any event, it's Captain Insano. That's the whole point of this clip here. And Captain Insano, like I said, I think he'd be great on video games, t-shirts, merch. Maybe you could do some kind of comedy spot appearance with him of some kind, but I don't know that I want to make Big Show a comedy character either. So it'll be interesting to see how it appears, but I think it's fun that he will appear. I think it's fun that they went out and acquired the rights to it. And Tony actually spent money on getting Captain Insano for whatever reason. I don't know that I would have did that either, other than maybe trying to license him for a video game or something. That would have been my route for him, for sure. But let's see. Let's see how it plays out. Captain Insano coming to a TV show near you. Can't wait. Hold on. Before I wrap this up, sit back and think about that. When you were a little kid, you watched The Waterboy. This was still WCW, the Giant. This wasn't even Paul Wight yet. This wasn't even Big Show yet. This was the Giant. And if somebody would have told you years that 25 years from now, Captain Insano is going to be on national TV as an in-ring performer, you would call me a goddamn liar is what you'd do. That's it. That's all I got for you, folks. We have reached the end of the podcast. And a fine podcast that it was. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. I'll keep the plugs real short because we're running a little bit long this week. You can like, follow, and subscribe at Seth Grimes Media, Twitter, TikTok, Facebook. Follow me there, like me there, interact with me there. I'm down to chat with you guys, whatever. Subscribe down there, the red button. You could also click the like button on something if you liked it. I don't know what the fuck people do on YouTube. Do all the YouTube stuff. Also got the Cryptomania NFTs, the Championship Belt Collection, mashing up your favorite championship belts with all the top cryptocurrencies. Also have a book out. It is The Gathering, a bold journey into the belly of the Juggalo underworld. All of those links for all of that stuff is down in the description below. If you are casually interested. You could also poke around here on my YouTube channel and check out some of my additional fun content. I have a tier ranking. My first tier ranking, I'm going to do a couple more of those because those were fun. Doing a tier ranking of the 30 of the top pro wrestling podcasts. Seek that out if you like. Also, my live in-person review from Blood and Guts is also here on YouTube. Check all that shit out. I got a video doing some video gaming from the WWF Royal Rumble for the Super Nintendo. So check out that as well. All that fun, extra bonus content for you guys. I very much appreciate you hanging out with me, checking out my stuff. I value you, and I will continue to grow this channel, to grow this podcast until I'm the motherfucking man. And that's it. That's all I got. Thank you so much. Peace, love, and pizza. I'm your boy, Seth Grimes, and this has been the Pro Wrestling Podcast. Podcast.